Hello everyone. Good evening. Today I would like to offer some insights into the shares of Fusion Microfinance. Please understand that this video is intended to serve only as an educational purpose as the presenter is not a SEBI registered financial advisor. Please seek the advice of a SEBI registered financial advisor before investing. So before we go into the details of the company, let us look at the facts of microfinance industry. The microfinance firms in India primarily lend to the customers from the rural background. People who do not have any kind of credit score or any kind of paperwork based on which the loan can be granted. So you can say it is a kind of an unorganized market in which microfinance firms sell their product, that is loan. Now, most of these people, especially in the rural areas, depend on sahukars, so-called money lenders, to avail the loans. Now, these sahukars have been traditionally known to charge up to 60 to 70% of the interest on the loans that they give out to these rural background people. And because these people do not have the required papers, they cannot avail the loans from regular banks. And this is the gap that microfinance firms try to fill by offering loans to these people who do not have the required papers or any kind of credit score. Microfinance firms generally provide the loans which are very small in size. For example, 5,000 rupees loan, 4,000 rupees loan, etc. In the past, some 10 years back or a decade back, one microfinance firm was listed, which I would like not to name here, I would avoid naming it, and it did very well. But of late, it got into some controversy. It had also some issues with a private bank, and the people who had invested, the investors, had burnt their fingers, and ultimately, this sector took a lot of time to make a comeback. But today, these microfinance firms are far more professional. Their corporate governance practices are far more of higher standards. Their balance sheets have better quality assets. They have a large number of products to cater to these different types of customers in the rural areas as well. Of course, these firms are not risk free. They face a typical risk, what we can refer to as a concentration risk. For example, let us say that firm X, microfinance firm X, decides to give loans to the people who live in central Madhya Pradesh region in district X or district Y. Now, if that district is hit by a drought or any kind of natural calamity, then the probability that these people who have taken small loans from this microfinance firm, these people would be able to pay that loan back on time, this type of probability gets reduced. So this is one risk that they face. But despite that, given the growth that these companies have shown in last 3 years, there is definitely a case to consider them as far as the investment in them is concerned. These companies also have one more advantage, that they do not have any kind of fear of competition from the fintech companies, financial technological companies. These fintech companies like Paytm generally sell loans to those people whose credit score data and other financial data is available with them. And there is no question that the people who avail the loans of microfinance firms would have any kind of credit score. And that's why Paytm or this type of companies will never enter this segment, at least for a in a foreseeable future. Now let us come to the firm that I recommend that one can consider for investing in the microfinance space. The name of that firm is Fusion Microfinance. Its price as on 12 April 2024 is 484 rupees 60 paisa. The industry obviously is consumer finance. It is a typical small cap share with a market cap of 4,903 crore rupees, and its rank is 694. And that's why it is definitely a high risk stock, typical high beta stock with a volatility of 3.5 times compared to that of Nifty. If we move further, then if we look at the recent stock performance, then the stock has not performed well in the market in last 1 to 3 years or 2 years. It has only given return of 19% in last 1 year. It is ranked 54th out of 68 such stocks in terms of 1 year return. But the good part is that there are some 6 brokers who have started covering this share. They do the research of this share, and if we take their forecasted price of this share, then the median of that forecast comes around 54%. That means this share will appreciate by 54% if we consider the forecast of 6 brokers combinedly, and that's some good news. If you look at the key metrics in terms of valuation, then the PE ratio, price to earning ratio of this share is 12.67 compared to the sector PE of 21. And the PB ratio, price to book ratio of this share is 2.11 compared to the sector PB of 2.87. It means that share is definitely moderately priced and it can be definitely considered for buying. It is not too cheap. It is not a typical value buy, but at the same time, it is not at all costly and has definitely enough leg room for the price to increase. Sorry. If we look at its financial growth, it has been a good one. In last 3 years, it has basically ranked 6th out of 68 stocks like it in last 3 years. In terms of revenue growth, its revenues have grown by 35%. In terms of cash flow, in last 3 years, cash flow growth data has not been available. Earning per share in last 3 years has been around 64.15, which is reasonably attractive. So financial growth has been moderately good. Obviously, it is not bad at all. Profitability has also been reasonably good, above average you can say. ROE around 21.16 is a good score. Main data that makes this share very attractive is its net profit margin. Sorry, its net profit margin is 21%, and that makes it a very attractive, profitable company. Cash flow is minus 92, but as long as it doesn't affect the net profit margin, we can afford to ignore it. Although, of course, it is a negative sign in the long run. This company has no red flags. There is little probability that it will default in next 1 year. It is also not having any type of extra loans or promoter pledged holding is not very high. So overall, the company doesn't have anything that you need to worry about. The balance sheets look clean. In terms of price forecast, the highest forecast by any broker is around 820, and that is a staggering 70% probable upside. The median upside figure is 750 rupees, and that comes to around 55% upside or appreciation. Even if the share doesn't do very well, still its upside is around 26% high from the current level, and that figure comes around 610. So overall, the downside risk in this stock seems to be very less based on the data that we are having. If we look at the shareholding, then in September 2023, 10% shares of these companies were held by mutual fund, and that figure rose to 15% by December 23. That means 50% rise. So mutual funds have also started buying this company. At least the data tells us that between September 23 to December 23, the companies, mutual fund companies, had bought large number of shares of this company. Same goes with the foreign institutions. In September 23, foreign institutions held around 5% shares of the company. The figure went to 6.74 around December 2023. Conclusion is that microfinance as an industry is stabilizing, the business model is getting established, its balance sheets are becoming more quality in terms of the assets that it has, and more than that, the corporate governance compliance or at least disclosures of these companies are now much more better. And despite some inherent risks, one can definitely consider buying the shares that are in this space. Although all these shares are very small in size and they typically suffer from all types of risks that are associated with a typical small cap shares. So once again, this video was only for educational purpose. I told you the pros and cons of investing in this company. I hope you will take the advice of a SEBI registered financial advisor before taking a call to buy or not to buy this company. I hope you liked this video. Please let me know in the comments if you want to know about other companies analysis from me. Thank you very much and good night.